G'day everyone and welcome to another episode of the All Sports Podcast. I am the co-host that's been forced to do this, Liam McDonald.
I'm another one of your co-hosts, Lachlan Turner.
And Lachlan Turner is the one who forced him to do this. And I'm your third co-host, Sumit Cadell.
No.
And don't forget that the links to all our socials will be in the description down below. And you know what? Eventually we might decide to post on them.
Well, we have been. The last couple of weeks we have been.
Well,
and
the Facebook ones are literally, hey, we've uploaded something.
Go check it out. That's actually, no, that's our Instagram.
But, okay, in saying that, at the end of this episode, we've got something planned in the next couple of weeks, which we will tell you at the end of the episode. So, well, if you want to find out what we're going to be doing.
You can stick around, or you can just skip to the timestamp that I so conveniently place in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you could leave them hanging.
You know what? I hope people actually do use those timestamps because it takes me such a long time to figure those things out.
Well,
alrighty, let's.
All right, boys. How was your weekend? I want to find out. I want to know how your games of cricket went.
Absolute pig of a day on Saturday. I spent 57 overs in the field. Not happy.
Well,
Yeah,
how many wickets did you take, though?
I took 2.
So
he came in at the end and picked off the pieces.
I bowled 7 straight.
Oh, Captain Grump.
After drinks, but before tea.
Captain Grump.
And I went. My figures ended up being like 2 for 17 or something. I bowled like 2 maidens, and
Captain
I only bowled
Grump.
like 2 wides. I bowled a couple wides early.
Oh.
Hooping too much.
Did you scream at yourself? Did you go, you fucking idiot?
Oh, internally, my internal monologue was very critical of me.
Isn't it always? Like, let's be honest. We're all like in our heads. We criticize ourselves probably a lot a lot more harsh.
I know my teammates did some rather dumb shit, so I was doing a lot of criticizing of them internally.
Did you end up having to yell at anybody?
No, I didn't spray anyone.
Oh,
there was no bait.
Because
there was no bait.
All I see is you being very serious, and before recording, on the phone and stuff. Like, geez, Captain serious.
I'm not talking about what was discussed on the phone because there.
No, you don't have to.
There is a chance that people that I was discussing will see this, and then I don't need that out there.
No, that's.
But I took a catch. I caught their best bat. He scored like 41 runs on us in like 10 overs opening the batting.
Did you give him a send-off? This is what I want to know. Did you give him a send-off?
No, I was too busy going, thank fuck I caught that.
Oh. Well, what fucking good are you not giving him
a send-off? And then I got to run out.
Did you give that batsman a send-off that you run
out?
No,
I was busy going, thank fuck I hit the stumps.
Oh. What fucking good are you? Where are the send-offs?
I don't need to give them send-offs. I just need to be grateful that I didn't fuck it.
As the captain, of course, because...
Well, as a cricketer
immense
in general,
pressure
but even more
him,
as the captain.
He's
have to lead by example.
He'll have exceeding amounts of internal criticism for himself if he fucks it.
All right, so what about you? What about your game?
Our game went all right. I bowled 6 straight. Didn't take any wickets. I bowled all right.
How many no balls, considering that your nickname is Mr. Front Foot? So
yeah, it's true. 4 no balls in the first 2 overs. After that, nothing. Not even a wide. Nothing.
But you bowled 4 no balls, man.
It was warm up. I need 2 overs to warm up. That's how good I am. I took a catch though.
Did you not, when you played when you were younger, did you not have a crease?
Mate, you should see him at training.
Is he terrible? How many steps does he overstep?
No, because the run up's too short at training, so I go way over.
But yeah, I've heard a lot about your catch. Very impressed by your catch.
Because this guy came in. They were 5 for 120. I think I was telling you guys earlier, and they were in a bit of a rough spot. They were going really slow, and this guy comes in, big guy, burly guy, starts smacking us all over. Right, he smacks Pasindu and he smacks Jacko all over, and then I'm at cover. I'm like, okay. Jacko's bowled 7 balls straight, just dot balls, dot him up. he's gonna chuck this one short. Like I have a feeling he's gonna chuck this one short. Either it's gonna be over my head or it's gonna come straight to me. And I was hoping it didn't bounce because if it bounced, then I'd be fucked. I can't be bothered catching it off the bounce. So he absolutely creams it on the off the back foot, creams it straight towards me. I didn't even have to move. I literally took like half a step and I went like that. And the ball was coming here. I lost the ball as it came close to me. I just kept my hands there and magically went into my hands. I was like, thank you. No, that's what I was like internally. In reality, I just threw the ball up. I'm like, fuck yeah.
I could Paul Stokes. That would have been funny.
No,
you would have
and
pulled a Herschel Gibbs.
it's the same guy I gave a send off to a few years back.
Oh, Summit giving send-offs.
No, I can't. No, I bowl a slow one. It was Nari's captain as well back then. Same guy. I bowl a slow one. I bowl him, and as I'm going through my follow through, he's walking off right, and he's right beside me, and I didn't see him. I'm like, fuck yeah. As he's right beside me, I'm like, fuck.
But with your catch, so you're telling me that you almost pulled a Herschel Gibbs.
I mean, did he? Not really. I just had to step and take it like
I
that.
tell
He
you,
absolutely creamed it.
I tell you,
I've like
camp.
smacked this portion of my hand, and that was like hurting for like.
And you remember the misguided one that you at the school cricket game when both of us played, and you look like Mike fucking Hussey out there trying to find the ball, and you just watch it bounce next to you.
Yeah, no, that went up in the sun, and I was like, fuck, I did not see that at all.
But all right, so I've actually got a story. So my last school camp, right? It was down along the Mornington Peninsula. Well, I can't remember exactly where, but it was there, and but like more so in the bush, if that makes kind of sense. But it's like down that way. Like you go, I can't remember. I just know it's down that way. And we had the cricket stuff there. We had the stance, we had the bat, we had the ball. And one of the teachers at the school at the time, he big cricket fan. And at school I'd always chat cricket with him. And I remember he fucking skied one, and I was there looking for the ball, and the exact same thing where you were fucking walking around. I was looking around, I couldn't see it. I lost it in the sun, and then I've seen it at the last second. I've pretty much I've had it in my hand, and then I dropped it. I'm like, oh shit, okay.
Oh,
but that's not the end of it. He then said to me, look at you, Mr. Herschel Gibbs, or he said something like that. I'm like, being the person that being the sport nuffy that I am, I was like, who the fuck's Herschel Gibbs? And he's like, look him up. I went and looked up. He's like, I went and looked up who Herschel Gibbs was and what he was famous for. And it was that catch in the 99 World Cup. And I'm like, are you fucking... I literally went back to it. I'm like, you can't be fucking serious, man. Like that, I did not just pull a Herschel Gibbs. Like, see, I essentially just clapped and the ball came out of my hands. And
now, ever since then, I think I've redeemed myself. My fielding's gotten much better and I can take catches. I don't think I've dropped one. I've dropped one since then.
Every time I go, every day for the rest of the year of school, he'd always remind me, he'd call me Herschel. He'd call me fucking Herschel.
Oh,
and I feel like my nickname's about to get changed out by a certain. Oh, yep, no, I could see him getting very serious there.
Good man.
No, but okay, so onto the my games. Well, obviously, it was the second day of the 2-day on the Saturday at Box Hill with Frog Box giving me just plenty of issues trying to set it up. And we were chasing 322, and we got to none for 117 before tea. A few hours before tea, and I thought, this is a really good start. And as soon as I thought that, just wickets
fucking
started.
It, didn't you?
Well, they lost 5 for 16, but essentially we lost all their wickets while making 108 runs after that. So it was a bit, a bit of pill to swallow, considering the stuff.
I bet your team was wishing they had you in the field then to drop some. Yeah.
We were batting day 2, dickhead. Like, what the fuck? But today, obviously, the trip to Geelong where, I had the window down, the music fucking going, the sun is on. The sun is on. That was the most important thing. The Chewy. And I'm like, I was loving life already. And this was before I even got to Geelong. I was just fucking loving it. The drive down there. Got there, well, on time, roughly an hour beforehand.
Spoken like a guy who didn't get stuck in the traffic going Geelong way. Most of the time driving to Geelong sucks.
Well, no, that wasn't me. Although on the way back, something funny happened.
What's that?
And I actually found the last car park spot because there was netball right next door.
No.
So I
I've
found the
come to
last
hate
car park.
netball.
I found the last car park. Otherwise, if that was the case, I would have been fucking scared. I would have been scared shitless. So we ended up batting first. We got off to a flyer. We were like 81 after like 15, none for 81. But we only made 216 in the end when we batted the whole 50. So, credit to them. They brought on like the slower bowlers and they took like 7 of the 9 wickets. So good on them. But in reply, we ended up bowling Geelong out for 128. And I've just looked at the ladder, and after 2 games, we're sitting on top. So, and we played a team that, oh my God, that's a very close up.
Doing something else.
And well, on the way back, I follow my GPS where it tells me to go, and on the road it said like to the Prentice Highway. It fucking took me off before the Westgate Bridge, so I had to. I got off, and then I had to go back on, and I was screaming. At this point, I was giving my GPS the bird. I mean, I didn't want to.
Wait, were you using your car's GPS or your phone?
The GPS I have in my car.
And
it's more updated. It's more updated.
Use your phone. Use your phone.
No, it's more updated than my phone. And my Google. Liam knows this. My Google Maps.
His Google is cooked. His Google hates him.
My Google.
Why?
Because see, he found it out because he picked me up from when we played Dandenong, and he was driving me home, and he's like, "Use your Google Maps." I'm like, "Oh, you don't want me to do that?" And he's like, "No, do it." And it took him on a route that he didn't know, or like it was just how it was telling him to go. And he's like, "What the fuck is wrong with your Google Maps?" So I used the car's GPS. Well, I couldn't fucking punch it because I would have broken it, so I just gave it the bird.
Oh god.
Yeah, no, his Google is actually the most cooked version of Google Maps I've ever seen.
You either need to get a new phone or I have no idea.
Do you know how many phones I've broken because I punched it for going too slow or giving me the wrong directions?
You get a good phone then.
I can't afford a good phone, you fuck.
Because he breaks them too quickly.
Yeah, I know. Jesus Christ.
I know, but no, in all seriousness, so this phone that I have now, it's a lot better. It has more storage and it doesn't fucking freeze up every half hour.
How much is the storage on that?
What are we doing? Okay, so let's fucking stop talking about phones and me almost punching my GPS because that's not fun. I mean, look, it's fun for you guys, but it's not fun for me. I'd end up with a pretty sore fucking hand. The Cricket World Cup. Now,
Trav's head. Let's
not just that.
Beautiful.
2 games into the Australia's campaign, we were like they're fucked.
Yeah, then they figured it out somehow.
Then
they
won their last 4 games. You know what? Now by no means am I comparing this to a great side. I'm not. Like I'm just saying it a bit similar-ish. 1999. Now, when Australia had their last, the ODI series before the World Cup, they lost, didn't they?
Is that the one we played India?
Yeah.
So they lost. They lost. They lost the one-day cup before the they lost that series before the World Cup. In 1999, Australia lost an ODI series. Australia 1999 lost their first 2 World Cup matches. Australia this year lost their first 2 World Cup matches. There's a big...
I'm liking what you're putting down, Lockie.
It's a big, you like that, see? I'm not always... Look, I may not have much up here, but when it comes to this stuff, fuck me, this is my element. So don't,
the thing is, you could say the same about India in 2011 as well. So they won an ODI series just before the World Cup, won all their games in the World Cup.
But but this has a bit more of an.
We're not talking about India here. We're talking about
No,
Australia.
but
So
see,
shove it.
no,
Yeah, but India's doing
but to
much
your
better,
point
so
though,
you
to
know,
your point,
I'm obliged to talk about them.
but to,
Just wait till the Netherlands beat you or some shit.
Oh, you know what? I'm actually terrified that we have to face Netherlands now. Fucking hell, they're on a roll. They beat
How
South
funny
Africa.
would it be if England finish on the bottom?
well,
Oh my
that's where
God,
they are now,
I am
aren't they? Because
praying.
Netherlands won. Netherlands
See,
beat Bangladesh.
now, two surprises in this World Cup, right? Two surprises in the World Cup. Afghanistan are getting good and Netherlands are getting good. One fact in this World Cup, England is still shit. Their last two games, they got bowled up for what,
But
160 against Sri Lanka and 170 against the Netherlands. That was
hey, no. Now
oh,
with that Sri Lanka game, did you
that
see?
was a treat. That
No,
was a treat.
did you see what happened to Adil Rashid? How he got run out?
Oh, that was
No, I have
beautiful.
not.
That was
You
beautiful. He's been
haven't
taking
seen it.
notes.
How have
He's
you
been-
not? Right,
He's
you need
been okay.
look.
Liam,
Get your
Liam.
phone up and look at it right now. You
I'm
are,
going to tell you this now. He has been taking notes from Johnny Bairstow. He was watching that Ashes
and
series,
not
and I
only that, you know what's
guarantee you.
funny? With that, I was waiting. As soon as I saw that, I went onto Twitter straight away, and the amount of people that were tagging Piers Morgan, it was
Oh
the
God, the
funniest thing.
funniest shit ever.
I don't want an
Oh my
ad.
God.
Don't give me an ad. Give me the video. You.
It was. I actually can't wait to say later reaction. He's gonna throw up laughing. I reckon
It
Oh,
was,
is that a
it
video?
was,
Is
it
it just
was,
some dude
it was
talking about-
genuinely the funniest thing I've seen. Like,
Oh, okay.
just search up
They have
Adil Rashid
rights
wicket
to it.
against Lanka.
but like going back to Australia, you know, I think they're now that they're every chance to win it. They,
To be honest, dude, any team in the top four has a very, very strong chance of winning
but I think
this World Cup.
the two teams in the top four now that have the strongest chance, you'd say India and Australia. They're the two at the moment in the World Cup at the moment. They are the two informed teams.
Who was it against Sri Lanka?
Sri Lanka,
I'm
yeah.
gonna have to agree with you on that because even though Australia did lose their first couple of games, they've come back very strong. And whereas you know South Africa, yes, they've won most of their games, 5 out of their 6 games. New Zealand also have won 3 out of their 5 games as well. So, but it's kind of like I don't know, like, but they do have a strong, but I don't know. I get like a bit of wavering vibe from them. It's like
Another ad.
Oh.
God damn it.
The thing I think with the Australia, right? They've got some informed batsmen, like batsmen that can win the game for them. Like Warner, Head, as we saw, like Warner. Going back to Warner, he's probably the most informed white ball Australian batsman. Like, would that be fair?
No.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
poor.
That is poor, isn't it? Oh God, that was a beautiful to watch.
Yeah,
That was
with
beautiful.
Australia, I don't think it's going to be the batting that lets us down. I think it's going to be the bowling and whether or not we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the one player that really in a big game that needs to really stand up is Zampa. I haven't really seen him stand up in a big game. And look, he went for 3 for 74, but he's the previous 3 wins that Australia had. He was really good. So
yeah, he's good. Look, he's not that bad. He's good. But I agree with Liam. Like your bowling would, you know, like this last game it shows as well. You guys made 388 and you lost by 5 runs. Like that's something to talk about.
Like I think Cummins, I think we need to have the debate whether or not Cummins whether or not he deserves to be in the side. And
He could be in the side as a batter. Did you see how he was batting the other day?
yeah, but
Looked like Glenn Maxwell.
but we know
out
that
there
we know
jumping.
that his main strength is his bowling, right? That's his that's his go-to. You know, you can't really call him a bowling all-rounder, like because he's focused so much on his bowling over the years. But the thing is, though, if you take Cummins out, who's the quick that replaces him? That's been just as good. And who's
the backup quick in the squad?
Is there one?
Sean Abbott?
Oh yeah,
But he's not.
quick. He's a bit. Well, I mean, he's quick for like.
He's all right, but he's kind of like the most ideal. If Cummins were to be replaced, he's like the most ideal option.
The one
Well, you
guy that I
pick Cam
think.
Green as a bowler.
They won't bring him back. I mean, not if they want to win this World Cup.
Well, I mean, the one guy that I'd like to see get in, like, but again, he needs to get his body right. And, he suffered another injury for WA. Like, I think he fractured did something to his shoulder again, and that was Jai Richardson.
Shoulder again?
I think it was his shoulder. And
poor guy.
He is I reckon he'd be one of the most unluckiest cricketers of this group at the moment, because if he's fit and firing, he's probably the third or fourth best bowler for Australia, I think.
Yeah, him and James Pattinson are the two most recent ones that have been like, if they could get themselves healthy, they would have played a lot.
Ryan Harris is another one.
Pretty much.
All the injuries that he went through.
Dude, the Ryan Harris in his last tour played through a tour match with like a broken.
I've heard about that.
knee
I've heard
or
about
something.
that. Yeah, and apparently, like, he just played in the pain, and I was like,
Played through the pain in a tour game, and then they're like, gee, this really hurts. They got it checked out, and like X-ray was like, yeah, that's broken. And then he retired from cricket after that.
But
yeah,
see, look, I'll be looking forward to seeing kind of how the rest of this World Cup plays out. It'll definitely be interesting. Look, as we said, 2 games into Australia's campaign, we were like, this is just dreadful. This could be the worst.
We've had a couple of close games now, so I reckon the tournament's going to get.
It'll be South Africa Australia final, and Australia are going to get their revenge on them.
Or Australia's going to get knocked out in the semis, and New Zealand will get their revenge.
No. Let's make
We're
one
all
thing
into the
clear.
Kiwis.
Let's make one thing clear. Australia own New Zealand in every format, pretty much. In every moment like this, we own them. Or Australia
That's
owns
true.
them.
That's true. But one could say that you guys barely got over the margin in the last game. Because you guys made 388.
Hang on. It doesn't matter. Hey, hang on. It doesn't matter how you win in the scorebook and on the scoreboard. If it says you won, you won.
If you have to underarm it, you're underarm it.
Oh, did you really have to go there?
But what
did you really have to go there?
Next time.
Wow. No. I'm sorry. If you have to underarm it, you underarm it.
Yeah, anything to win.
If you're going to go there, you might as well just forfeit the game against New Zealand if you have them in the semis. That's a horrid argument.
No, see what England could do is they could go back to using mints.
Or they could just get good.
Or have you seen how messed up those white balls get towards the back end of an innings? Have you seen how terrible they've been looking over in India? Far out.
Is it to do with the pitches or the fucking field?
No idea.
I'm thinking in some grounds it might be to do with the field, but
could just be because white balls are terrible.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, after 40 overs, you can't expect a huge.
It's a brown ball. It's not a white ball. It's a brown ball.
Hey, well, see, that's over there. In here, it's still relatively white.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's much better because it's all the paint peels off.
Mm.
It's not really the ground. It's more the fact that white cricket balls just aren't as good as.
Well, have you seen how smashed up a pink ball like the pink ball gets?
Yeah, the pink balls aren't any better.
Well, the thing is, it doesn't help when teams are making bloody 400 runs every now and then.
It is actually getting insane with
and the fielders every time they chuck the ball, they bang it into the fucking pitch.
Bang it! I know.
But
what happened?
You know what's strange? So you know what I've noticed just with this World Cup here, the grounds are so fucking small, which is why we're seeing all these huge fucking scores. Say for example, this was in Australia, I don't think we'd be seeing scores of close to 400 because
it's not that the grounds are small.
No, they are really small. 60 meter barely 60-meter boundaries. That's fucking tiny.
Well, yeah, you got a couple of them over here in Australia as well, right? You got the 1K, that's pretty big. You got the stadium in Ahmedabad. That's
The
really big.
MCG, the MCG, the Wacker, Adelaide Oval are all fucking huge.
The Wacker, it's not the Wacker anymore. It's off the
fucking.
stadium.
You know what I meant? The of the stadium. Fuck, I'm an idiot. It's all right.
Okay.
Look, dude, you have a couple of them all over the world. All right, India's got many more stadiums than Australia to give, so you'd have a bit more diversity
Yeah,
there
but the
as
thing
well.
is, though, if they're all fucking small, like that's the thing. They're all small. Like that's the thing, which is why I think we're seeing all these high scores. Like, look, but I mean, as
Yeah,
you
but
said,
they're not like that ground in New Zealand. Remember that game, Australia versus New Zealand, when it was hosted across both countries?
which ground are you talking about?
There's like that tiny one in New Zealand.
Oh,
Like they're not like that small. Wait, that was in New Zealand, wasn't it? Or was that in Australia?
that would have been New Zealand. Australia have some of the biggest grounds,
Yeah, I know,
like for
but
cricket
like,
in the world.
Was it Basin Reserve or something?
But
um,
like, look, as we said, it'll be an interesting kind of finish to the World Cup. Which they each team still has roughly 3 games to play in the group stages.
Pretty much, yeah.
So look, it'll be interesting there to see how that all goes. Now, all right, now while you're doing that, I feel like it's time. Even though we initially wanted to do this with 3 people, we can do this with 2. This works. So, well, this is going to be a thing that we're going to be doing every week, right? Like when I say every week, like we're going to pick a certain category, and it's going to be like a fantasy draft type of thing. So, like for example,
we're going to run our own serpentine draft.
And so for this week, it's the best 21st century AFL players. Now, we've got, there's a couple of things with this. So obviously they could have debuted in the 90s, but they couldn't have played like for example, Plugger Lockett.
We don't care about anything they did last century, anything they did before January 1st, 2000.
Well, I'm saying that you can't pick guys like we can't pick guys like Carey, Silvani, Lockett, because they only played like 2-3 seasons, which is a bit unfair. Like Lockett played 6 games in 2002. Oh yeah, I'll take Plugger Lockett. That's bullshit. So, but I think people get the picture. Now, before we recorded, we did a wheel spin to see who'd get the first overall pick. And by the way, also this will go up on TikTok as well. So if you want to see who we select, just
Lucky Turner has the number 1 pick.
And yeah, I have the number 1 pick. And if you want to see who we select, both of us select. Well, obviously you'll be able to look at it when the episode's up or on our TikTok, which will be put up. If it's not up I highly doubt it'll be up tonight, but it'll be up tomorrow. So keep a look out. So I think hey, who do you think? All right, so I've
gone to the board of selectors.
No, I'm going to pick this player because I think he could put this team on his back when it mattered. Like it was like when they needed him, he'd be there for them. Now, this is going to shock you. I don't know why you're laughing. I'm actually going to go with Chris Judd with this.
Oh, fuck yes. Let's fucking go. I would have touched Chris Judd with a 10-foot pole, so you know what? You could have picked him in 5th round.
Really?
Yeah.
I've gone with Chris Judd because, look, his resume speaks for itself. He is an all-time great. Like, I think he could put both the sides that he played for on his back. I think we all remember it was his first year where he tore Brisbane a new arsehole, where he kicked, 4 or 5 playing at
He wouldn't have been a full forward, but he kicked 4 or 5.
Yeah, no, he did that as a half forward midfielder.
In his first year against essentially one of the greatest.
Yeah, before his shoulders were cooked.
So, and obviously injuries derailed his career, but he is the guy that I'd love to have on my team. And all right, so it's your go.
Well, I'm just gonna, with the second pick, I'm gonna take the guy, one and only guy who's gonna kick 1,000 goals this century. I'm going Buddy Franklin.
Yeah.
Can't believe, I am wrapped that Buddy Franklin has fallen to me at pick 2. That is chef's kiss, unbelievable.
That's all right. No, that's
and
fair.
then I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna lock it in. I'm gonna go with Scott Pendlebury as the first pick of the second round.
You
Because
fucking
Scott
idiot.
Pendlebury is so good. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sick of every time commentators say, Scott Pendlebury could have done anything in basketball if he stuck with basketball. But Scott Pendlebury is such a good footballer, and
Yeah,
it
no,
actually
he
pains me that
makes,
he plays for Collingwood because he's such a good player and he's such a good bloke.
he has time when he has no time, if that makes sense. Like, he just feels like he has a lot more time than he should.
And even this season for Collingwood, he's not like the big midfielder, like superstar that he once was, but he's still so important to that team.
He is so good. Now with my second pick, look, it's dangerous to go with back-to-back midfielders, isn't it? It's dangerous to go that way.
Well, it's not like we're picking a spine; we're just picking 5 players. So
I have to go with the little master, Gary Ablett Jr.
Yeah, that's why I was umming and ahhing with the penalty pick, because it's like, do I take him ahead of Gary? Like, it was a bit criminal that Gary's gone 4th in this draft.
It is very criminal, but look, this man was the heart and soul of, well,
2 clubs, really.
2 clubs. He put the Gold Coast Suns on his back and would have played finals. He would have got them to the finals for the first time if he didn't butcher his shoulder.
If he didn't wreck his shoulder, and that ended up wrecking his career.
But I genuinely think he is by far one, if not, I'd have to put him. If you're going to look at like career resumes and stats, he'd be top 10 all time in the AFL. Like, that is how, and it's amazing when you consider that he started as a forward line player and he had attitude problems, but yet he was still good as a young player. Now, with my first pick in the 3rd round, look, you went Buddy Franklin, the forward, one of the last few players to kick 100 goals. I'm going to pick one myself. I'm going to go with Matthew Lloyd. You were completely right. I was going to pick him. Now, the thing with this guy...
Yes! Let's go! I've won this. I have so won this.
You have not won
Oh,
this.
yes, I have.
No, look, the way this guy... He went from being one of the most iffy, 50-50 goal kickers to being one of the most accurate goal kickers in his career. Back-to-back 100-goal seasons, which he's the last player and probably will be he'll probably be the last player to do that in their careers, to kick back-to-back 100-goal seasons. Fraser Gehrig only had one 100-goal year. And he did it twice. He's a 3-time gold medal winner, 5-time All-Australian. Never won a best and fairest, which that does surprise me. But he was, and for a guy, when you look at him, he doesn't look that powerful or strong, but he was a very powerful and strong man.
Just ask Brad Sewell.
Ask Darren Glass, when all he had to do was, with his right arm, just do this. As you say, when Charlie Cummins supposedly gets held, he would push the defender on the chest, and Darren Glass was one of the strongest players in the AFL at the time, and he's just held him aside with one hand and just clunked at one hand. But he was one of the, in my opinion, I'd have him up there.
Well, with the second pick of the third round, I'm going to go with Dustin Martin. Well, when you think about resumes and like awards and Brownlows and Norm Smiths,
I think with him, the problem with him would be just like a bit like Ben Cousins in a way that his off-field stuff is gonna have a little bit.
His off-field stuff is nowhere near as
nowhere near as bad, but it's still a little bit ordinary.
But like his ability to just put a team on his back and win it for them. There's not a lot of guys that do it better than he does.
I reckon Chris Judd Ablett did it better, but I mean, we can debate.
Not a lot of guys. That doesn't mean there's no guys.
Okay, yeah. And who's your first pick in the fourth round?
First pick in the fourth round. My all-time favorite player.
Yep.
Simon Black.
Now, with this guy, like what I did not know until like since the last few years, but like he was just one of the best clearance players going around, like up until he retired. Like that is how good he was. And you know, and you want to talk about resumes. I mean, he's probably unlucky that he doesn't have more All Australians on his back.
He's also unlucky not to have more Brownlows. Like the amount of Brownlow counts that he was up there in.
I mean, he's got one, and he's got a Norm Smith, which that's still very, very good.
One of the best kicks with either foot. I think he's one of the better 2-foot kicks in the history of the comp as well.
Okay,
based on what I remember from like commentary when he was.
Okay, well, no, you're making me think now on some of my selections. What do you reckon?
Well, yeah, Simon Black. Oh, my all-time favorite player.
But yeah, no, he was one of the best clearance players going around. Like he was yeah, you're right. It was a deadly kick. Like he was spot on most of the time. Now, my fourth guy. Now, you want to talk about putting people like teams on their back? This guy would be up there with that, and I will give an example of a game where he did this. I'm talking about James Hird here. I'll give you an example.
Wow.
Now, sorry?
Wow, I can't believe you've gone another Essendon guy.
Yeah, we all know Robert Walls. He has a hatred for Essendon after something happened in his playing days against them. There was this one game where he just could not stop praising Hird. I'm talking about the game where he went and hugged the fan. Now, the week before, he obviously criticised an umpire and he got fined $20,000 for it. He criticised him on the footy show, which is a big no-no. And for the first 3 quarters, now Essendon had kicked the first 8 goals of that game with a midfield of Judd, Cousins, Kerr, and then the All-Australian ruckman Michael Gardner. Watching that game, like he had 19 disposals, kicked 1 goal in the first 3 quarters, which, you know, most players will take these days. But what he did in the last quarter, and West Coast would come out, they ended up actually hitting the front, and it went down to the wire. But he put the team on his back. He had 15 last quarter disposals, 6 last quarter clearances, and kicked, I think, 1 or 2 goals. He won the important for Essendon. Like, yes, they had Johnson, Mercedes, you know, these midfielders. But if you wanted a guy to get an important clearance, Hird was the guy to get the important clearance. You wanted, and the thing with him, which I think, it separates him from Buckley. It does separate him from Voss on this stage. He could dominate in any position that you play him. Back line, forward line, midfield. The other two, well, I can't really see.
Midfield Bulls.
Voss was a bull. Barkley was a guy that, no. But Hurd could dominate in every game, and it always put his body on the line for the ball. It always give his all. Now, yes, his coaching is a lot to be desired.
Yeah, good thing we're talking about players, not
But we're talking
coaches.
about the players. That's right. We're talking about the players, not the coaches. And as a player, he was just you couldn't get any better than him. Like, in terms of just putting the team on their back. I said players again.
Do you know you still have to make another pick, right?
Yep.
Please.
Now, this guy, look, this may surprise a few people. I thought about going Sam Mitchell. I genuinely thought about it.
Oh, shit.
I thought about going Luke Hodge.
Oh, fuck it. I'm going to stand pat with who I'm going to pick.
I could have gone Joel Selwood. But I'm going to go with a ruckman.
Wow.
I'm going to go with a ruckman because I think he revolutionised the ruckman and has put the standard on how ruckman should play. And Dean Cox. I think Dean Cox, look, everyone talks about Cousins, Kerr, Judd. Now, Dean Cox got love, but
not as much.
Not as much as that. And who were they getting the service from? Old mate fucking Cox. He helped two of his teammates win Brownlows. Like, the dude was he was the first ruckman that I think anybody could think of that would be this. Because, I mean, look, there was a period where that was a thing. Then it kind of died away. And he got the trend back again, where ruckman had to be the sixth, seventh midfielder around the ground. He was a lock, basically, for 15 to 20 disposals, plus 25 hit-outs. But it wasn't just stat padding. He was dominant.
Not empty numbers?
They weren't empty numbers. It was a dominant line. So, who is your last pick?
I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm putting on my biased cap. I'm trying to think, did the four that I've picked outclass the five you picked so much?
I don't think so.
Part of me really wants to take Luke Hodge because Luke Hodge has been so good. But you know what? Fuck it. My last pick, the last pick of this draft, is Jonathan Brown. Because, well, when you think about it, breaks into a grand final winning team.
Yeah, he did.
Becomes one of the most important players on that team. There's I think it was 05 or 06, or maybe even 07. One of those years would have won a Brownlow if he didn't injure himself.
Because he was playing that well. And
yeah, he would have won a Brownlow.
The thing I loved about him was, well, one, his courage was undeniable. Like that mark.
His courage also ended his career. Because he smashed his cheekbone on a Fremantle player's knee.
You could question his form and stuff. Like, you could question that, but you could not question his courage. His want for the ball was it was second to none. Probably some of the best out of the key forwards. Now, I know I selected Lloyd, but look, he could flop. I'll be completely honest. He would do that. You wouldn't see that with Brown. You wouldn't see with Jonathan Brown. Probably unlucky. Did he win one Coleman? I think he won one, didn't he? 09?
I think so.
No, 09 was for Vola. But he was one of the strongest key forwards going around. Like, he was probably the best chest marking.
2007 he won the Coleman.
So he won a Coleman.
So yeah, it would have been like 05 or 06 that he missed out on a Brownlow because he injured himself.
But no, I mean, look, it's like he was one guy that like if you're a young player on that team, you'd be intimidated like playing with him because he's just got that presence. So to recap our selections, right? I'll go with my 5 players. So these were my 5 players that I took, and then Lane will read out his, and then you have to tell us who you think was who had the better list. So I went with Chris Judd first, Gary Ablett Jr. second, Matt Lloyd third, James Hird fourth, and Dean Cox fifth.
And where's my list? Now, not that I need the list. I took Buddy first, Scott Pendlebury second, Dustin Martin third, then Simon Black fourth, and Jonathan Brown fifth.
So, everybody, let us know in the comments whether it's on the podcast episode or a TikTok.
Let us know. Let us know what we already know, that Liam won this draft.
Let us know who won this draft, and
if you feel so inclined, let us know who you would have picked instead of people we picked.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think this is actually a pretty close list. Like, yeah, look, I know I took two Western players, but I
took 2 Brisbane players.
So, I mean, but I feel like they were warranted. I mean, maybe Herb was definitely warranted. Lloyd, I mean, look, if you hadn't taken Scott Pendlebury with your
you would have taken Pendles.
Well, if you had left him, I would have taken him with my second or third because I had them back to back. So, but I mean, look, I'm fairly happy with my haul.
I reckon a couple of our picks probably would have made more sense if this was a 3-person draft and there were 15 players taken. But I got the 5 guys that I wanted to take, pretty much.
I didn't. The one guy that I wanted to take, but you took, was Pendlebury.
You weren't going to take Buddy?
No. I would have actually, if you hadn't have taken Pendlebury, I would have swapped him for Lloyd. That's what I would have done.
Oh, okay.
But no. Like I was all the way going to take Dean Cox.
Yeah, I know. When you talked about this, you said Dean Cox.
Yeah, and Chris Judd. I mean, the other day when you were like, "Oh, he's going to take Judd, he's going to take Ablett," I'm like, "Fuck, shut the fuck up! You're literally spoiling it, you prick." But so yeah, well, I think it's come to that point where we're almost at the end, but
almost at the end. Oh right, yeah.
But before we close out, we've got something big. Oh, I wouldn't say big. It's big for us.
It's a separate video that's got nothing to do with podcast episode.
Yeah, so it is big, but on the channel. So what we're planning on doing is on Melbourne Cup Day, we are going to
it's when we're going to record it. There's no it's not coming out Cup Day because I'm not.
Well, it's not. Yeah, we're recording a video. It won't come out on Cup Day. It may go out the day after.
Week of Cup. We're in Cup week at some point.
Yep. We are recording a video of let's just say you can't
trivia.
Really, yeah, it's trivia, sports trivia. And the loser, if you get a question wrong,
there's a forfeit.
Well, you either get a bucket of water.
No, you don't tell them what the forfeit is. You just say that there's a forfeit, and they have to tune into the video and find out.
Well, yeah, there is a forfeit, and if you want to see what happens when you get a question wrong in this, be sure to tune in because
so it'll just be Lockie and Sumit.
See,
I won't have any
five. Everybody, this guy has actually been so arrogant. He's like, I told him to bring a towel because obviously he's gonna, you're gonna have to shower after you get.
I'm gonna be perfectly fine. I'm gonna have no foreign substances on me.
You are going to have stuff. I don't know how to say it without sounding fucking disgusting. You are going to have I don't know how to say it, but you are going
I'm going to get covered.
That sounds fucked. You are going to what the fuck? You are going to look, you're not going to like the ending. So that's for
I'm
sure.
going to get everything right. I don't know what you're on about.
You are not going to get everything right, but well,
can't chuck in a deliberately hard question just so I don't get everything right, by the way.
You know what? Before we start crucifying each other, we'll end this. And this is the end of the episode. So I fucked that up so bad.
Well, I've been Liam McDonald.
What you've been? What happened to him?
I say that every week, you idiot.
What happened to him? I'm Lachlan Turner.
Fucking tool. Bye, toodles.
Bye.